What's good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow based off the charts are showing and based off the data is suggesting. I'm also going to talk about how the SPY relates to Tesla right now and also some important tweets from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Elon Musk. Now, before I break anything down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, but benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any could be a free Tesla share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in 2 weeks. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So right now, guys, I'm not really having the best of days. I actually recorded this video 2 times before, and neither time it actually worked out. So this is the third time I'm recording this. Hopefully it works out this time. But anyways, when it comes to Tesla, this thing was down about 2% for the day, and it actually showing more relative weakness than before, not looking the best overall. So what's going on with the share price? Well, we actually had a very interesting day in the markets because, first off, to start us off, we had a big gap down for not just SPY, but also for the QQQs. We had for many other stocks out there, many ETFs, not to mention for Tesla as well. So we had this mini gap like right about here. This ended up causing Tesla to come down just a bit, but then Tesla did try to hold these levels as many buyers started to step in. So then after that, Tesla did retest the zone I predicted, which is about, sorry about that, I don't know what's going on here. Hold on a second. Anyways, I'm trying to drag this out and I keep on grabbing the trend line. But anyways, sorry about that, guys. Coming back down to Tesla, this thing ended up retesting $180 a share. Once we retested, we got a nice bounce off that level. And this is the demand zone I was talking about from yesterday, 180 to 177. It's a very pivotal zone to watch. Now, why did the market gap down? That's because of what I reported yesterday. Overall, guys, jobless claims dropped to only 222,000. And I mentioned to everyone that if this was lower than expectations, the market would take a bit of a hit, at least into open, because of this. And what ended up happening was the expectation was 225,000. We ended up getting only 222,000. This is important because this means that there were less people filing for unemployment than what we expected, which means that we expected the labor market to be weaker. The labor market was actually stronger. All right. The stock market does not like this. The market wants the labor market to start showing weakness because if the labor market is weak, it incentivizes the Fed to be less. If it's weak, they're going to be less hawkish, right? That's what we want to essentially see. But because the jobs market is still doing relatively well, obviously it means the Fed could actually be even stricter. They need to cause some pain. This is what the market does not like. We are starting to see more layoffs now. So things are already starting to get tougher. But overall, for the month of October, it is quite clear that things are still suggesting that the Fed still has more incentives to still be more hawkish. And that's why the market responded the way it did. Tesla was down about 2%. The QQQ was only down 0.22%. So overall, Tesla is still showing more relative weakness. We can see the price price ratio is still continuing to downtrend very hard, looking pretty weak for Tesla. Compared to SPY had a nice bounce. SPY has been coming down, but Tesla's actually at one of the lowest levels we've seen for the entire year. So Tesla is still looking pretty weak. Compared to the QQQ, you guys can see it's also looking pretty weak. Both of them are starting to come down, but Tesla's the one that actually had more downside today and also yesterday compared to before. Overall, you will also notice that Tesla has a tendency of being red on Fridays 48% of the time. And we also have a tendency of actually opening up not the strongest, but actually pushing up during the first hour or so, the first 30 minutes to hour. Then after that, we tend to be pretty all right before we start to slow down as the day goes on. But near the last hour or the second to last hour, Tesla tends to show some more volume before we start to see this thing sell off. So for tomorrow, I do anticipate a very similar trend. I will make it more simple a little bit after. On SPY, max pain is 385, so market makers are incentivized to cause the market to drop at least for tomorrow because of the high put to call ratio. But at the same time, they are incentivized to cause this to push up to cause pain for the puts. It really goes either way, but I do believe that downside is a little bit more likely when I show you guys the things I'm about to show you. For Tesla, there's been a lot of call buying. In fact, you could argue it's a little bit too much for these shorter time frames. Right now, the put to call ratio is still in favor of the calls. This is why this ratio is below 1.0, which means that there are more calls being bought. People are still loading up on calls, and the market makers like to cause pain because of that. So be very careful when it comes to those plays and those trades. Finally, when it comes to Tesla's overall volume, you will notice that the volume was like 64 million, which is a little bit below average. But if we come down to about right here, you will see the short volume percentage is close to about 50. So right now Tesla's kind of in between the bull and bear side, but it does look like the short volume percentage is respecting an uptrend, which means that Tesla might start to come down as time progresses. Finally, we have a good tweet that was actually retweeted by Elon Musk himself. You can see that the Model S received the highest overall score from Euro NCAP among any vehicle tested under the current protocol. This is very important because Elon Musk is letting everyone know that the Model S is doing very well. It's a very incredible car. And also, Tesla's not dropping because of its fundamentals. Yes, we may see some pain in earnings going into 2023. I'm well aware of that. However, you also have to remember that Tesla is still an incredible company for the long term. They still have one of the best safety scores out there, according to many of the metrics out there. And also, it incentivizes people to buy them. They scored very, very well with safety assist, very good for children in the car as well. And also, there are many different cameras, many different visuals, and many different ways from the actual like user interface that can make things a lot easier for drivers. So I'm very impressed by the company. There's so much relentless improvement. It makes me very bullish for the long term, and not to mention the big updates, the full self-driving technology, the robotics, and everything else out there, guys. I'm very, very bullish long term. But for the short term, there will likely be some pain, and I want everyone to be prepared for it. Now, I did want to show you guys something very cool about SPY. I think I'm going to save it for tomorrow because right now, I mean, this is my third time recording this. I apologize if this video seems a little bit rushed. Uh, when it comes to how SPY is moving, however, you can see a clear downtrend being respected again. I mentioned this yesterday. However, we did get a nice push into the close for today. So what it does look like is it has some potential to push up a little bit more. We could even go for a gap fill at like that 395 level. But once we hit these higher levels, there's a lot more resistance at like 395, 397. And a bit of a push up is completely normal for open, but that doesn't mean it's going to last forever because remember, the market makers are incentivized to cause the market to come down. Now, could we also see them be incentivized to cause the market to go up? I mean, yes, but I would give that a 40% chance. So I think there's a 40% chance that the market closes green tomorrow, and maybe a 60% chance we see another red day. And I say this because of the fact that the SPY did retest this zone right here, and it is continuing to make those new lows over and over again. The lower highs of the day are slowly coming again and again, and the trend still looks more bearish. On top of that, if we do end up coming down, we have to see how SPY reacts to this key support zone at 390. If we don't hold this, guys, there's a lot of room for us to come all the way down to 385. Considering the fact that there are tensions involving the whole Poland situation, the whole Ukraine situation, even though much of them are kind of like out of the question, at the same time, there are still tensions out there. There's still a lot of talk from the Fed, and this is why the market's not in the best of states, especially coming into the next potential earnings recession. With that said, if you look at the QQQ, this thing was down about 0.22%, a big gap down thanks to the jobs report, nice bounce thanks to some things that were said by the Fed, which are not as hawkish as anticipated. But then after that, we did kind of downtrend despite everything that was going on. The QQQ looks like it could push up a little bit more. We could retest this 286 level, break above that, then 287 is possible. I mean, there's a gap up here. I don't know for sure if this is going to get filled. Even if it does, we could see a big reversal after that and continue to downtrend, especially because of where max pain is. For Tesla, what does this tell us? I'm anticipating a nice bounce, a nice push up tomorrow. I want to see Tesla continue to retest this upper trend line. We could even break above it and maybe retest 185. But once we start testing these zones, as of right now, it's still looking pretty weak. There are not as many buyers, and especially because it's a Friday, a lot of buyers are likely not going to be stepping in to the same degree as before. So even if Tesla pushes up to like 185, I'd still be very skeptical, and this thing could easily come all the way back down to 180. If we do manage to push all the way up past it and retest this like 186 level, 187 to maybe fill the gap, that's also possible. But it's very possible that if that happens, this thing could still see a big reversal and end up bleeding as the day goes on, as volume slows down. So I do believe what's likely to happen is we're going to get a pump tomorrow. Tesla could easily retest 185. I think it's very possible, but then we might come all the way back down and start to retest this key demand zone, 180 to 177. I really believe that's likely what is going to end up happening. I think that we have to watch this zone very carefully, because if Tesla breaks below it and holds below 177, this thing is likely, in my opinion, going to have a lot of room for potential downside. It could even go all the way down to the 150s pretty quickly. Unfortunately, it's the truth, right? There's not a whole ton of support down here, guys. It's very, very unfortunate, but it is the truth, and this is something everyone should be prepared for. So one thing that I don't want to see is a close below 180. I'm hoping we don't necessarily get that, because it's going to be very weak for Tesla from a psychological standpoint. But if the buyers do step in like they did today, which I think is very possible, we should close a little bit above it. So what I'm predicting is a nice push tomorrow into open, maybe a big rejection. This thing trades sideways, and then slowly we start to bleed. We retest 180, maybe drop below it or come very close to doing that. But I'm hoping for a small push near the end of the day and maybe a somewhat red close. So overall, a nice push followed by a bit of a drop and a hold above 180 is what I'm essentially hoping for. It's also going to depend on SPY. If SPY in the market and the QQQ all come down pretty hard, Tesla does have the potential to actually retest 177. However, I like to be optimistic, so I'm hoping that Tesla holds 180. With that said, that's essentially what I have for this video, guys. Please remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I apologize if this video seems kind of rushed. Once again, it is my third time recording it. Sometimes the tools, technology does not go in your favor, but it's okay, guys. I'm here for you. Please remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon. The long-term future is still very, very bright, and peace out.